South Africa is only developed because of white people? Let's unpack. So I was scrolling on Twitter when I saw this tweet. Why is South Africa so developed? Is it because the white man stayed far longer compared to other countries or what? That Chris Brown show they're having tonight looks like a concert in the West. Bro, if the white man stayed in Kenya till the 90s, we could be miles ahead. Look at us. We only have one superhighway since independence. We don't even have a stadium that meets FIFA standards. Mzungu, make a better, whatever. Mzungu means white person. So I'm assuming they're saying white people would make it better. You guys don't think it's crazy to put your oppressors on a pedestal and say, maybe they should have oppressed us a little bit more? And for me, that's not the only reason this conversation bothers me. It also bothers me because, once again, like many other conversations that happen online, it lacks nuance. First of all, to say South Africa was only built by one race is incorrect. It is historically inaccurate. Black people had to have their land stolen and their resources stolen in order for one race to be more superior than the other. Secondly, labor had to be exploited. It is our ancestors' labor that built South Africa to what it is. It's the indentured servants that they brought from various parts of the world, like India, China. It's the enslaved people who then became colored people. It's very simplistic to say, oh, this country is only developed because of white people. They are the ones who built this country. Without them, you'd be nothing. That is also very anti-black. What you're saying is that black people, African people, are incapable of running societies properly, which is false. Before colonization, we were running societies successfully. Before capitalism, before all of this nonsense. And I know people look at the state of Africa and they say, yeah, but the corruption, but the whatever. But it's like, all of this is by design. It's by design. If you just read into the history of the World Bank, the IMF, and how they created structural adjustment programs in order to keep African societies at the bottom, then you'll understand that everything that happens, it's literally by design. It's not because black people are incapable. It's not because Africa is incapable of having good leaders. It is by design. And on the part of white people building South Africa, it sounds very similar to the rhetoric that people say about black Americans when they disparage how their ancestors and they have played a role in building America to what it is. It's such a racist and anti-black way to remove people from the labor and the efforts that they've put into actually making a country what it is. I think what people are looking to say is that since there are so many white people in South Africa and we live in such a racist society where capital follows capital, and because white people hold majority of the capital in South Africa, more capital will obviously be invested in South Africa than any other African country. Therefore, we've had more opportunities for development, but that does not mean that white people developed South Africa, especially considering the fact that a lot of black people did not have access to basic needs like electricity, water, sanitation, education, etc., until a black government took hold of South Africa. But either way, coming online to speak about how you wish you were colonized longer is crazy. Can Africans stop? At this point, the conversation is not productive and it's not helping anyone.
They must please come and fetch their people and take them home, because we had enough of illegal, undocumented foreign nationals.
South Africa's unemployment has gone up to 33.6%. The Q2 2026 quarterly labor force survey showed numbers had gone up from 32.7% in the first quarter. That's 8.5 million people now out of work, an increase of 345,000 in just 3 months.
The recent statistics coming out that in Q2 people lost their jobs, Q2, which is obviously between April and June.
Here is what we know. Jacinta Ngobese Zuma, the founder of South Africa's March and March movement, has spoken on her social media page to address the report. Her movement continues to link South Africa's economic struggles to foreign nationals in the country, despite immigrants leaving the country amid increasing xenophobic attacks.
They say that the number has generally increased of people who have lost their jobs in general. But there's a positive in that. Unfortunately, it's not positive for people to be unemployed, but the positive is this. When they talk about an unemployment rate, they don't necessarily mean people losing their jobs. An unemployment rate could also mean that there are new people in the market now looking for jobs that were not there before. So if there was 100,000 people who are not there now suddenly looking for jobs, it'll increase the number of unemployed people because obviously there's 100,000 new people now looking for jobs.
Youth unemployment among 15 to 34-year-olds has climbed to 47.4%, up 1.5 points. That's 5 million young South Africans now unemployed. The data was released by Statistics South Africa this month. What are your thoughts? Tell us in the comments.
Breaking but very expected news. South Africans in the mud. In fact, now they're inside the pits.
Unemployment has gone up to 33.6%. The Q2 2026 quarterly labor force survey showed numbers had gone up from 32.7% in the first quarter. That's 8.5 million people now out of work. An increase.
The illegal foreigners are taking our jobs. The African nationals are taking our jobs. Now they have left. And the unemployment rate went up. What's happening? You see what's happening is that in South Africa, the black South Africans don't really have anything. The people running the businesses are the white South Africans, and the African nationals. Black South Africans themselves, nothing. Now let's listen to what Auntie Jacinta had to say.
That the number has generally increased of people who have lost their jobs in general. But there's a positive in that. Unfortunately, it's not positive for people to be unemployed, but the positive is this. When they talk about an unemployment rate, they don't necessarily mean people losing their jobs. An unemployment rate could also mean that there are new people in the market now looking for jobs that were not there before.
Someone called her an eloquent illiterate. An eloquent illiterate. And the day I saw that, I was like, wow. They just summarized this auntie in a very beautifully. And that thing that happened is that while this delusional, lazy set of people should have concentrated in working, a lot of them actually left their jobs during that March and March time when they were warning everybody June 30. A lot of them left their jobs to go and be marching on the street. This is how senseless the black South Africans are. So I'm not surprised that a lot of them lost their jobs because they were, instead of, like, I was watching their lives and these people were just always on the street, and I was asking myself, you are complaining that people are taking your jobs. Are you trying to tell me all of you here are jobless? On a Monday morning, you had nowhere to go to, but to be walking on the street looking for your fellow Africans to send out of your country. Good for you. This is only the beginning. This is only the beginning.